So if you're wondering, in this sort of bear market where we are right now with crypto, are you investing in the right thing? Should you be here? Should you have just not bothered? I'm suggesting you are in the right place for sure. Stick with crypto because it's going to get very interesting over the next few years. Okay, so this week we're all talking about stable coins, security, that type of stuff. So I thought it fit in to bring you along to one of my most favourite places in South Wales, Carrick-Kennen Castle. Come take a look around this place. As we all know, back in the olden days, money was called gold, and it was stored in castles just like this, or maybe more recently bank vaults. But just a few decades ago, where we used to have paper money which was backed by the actual gold stores, nowadays paper money is just exactly that. It is just paper money, and this is why Satoshi Nakamoto actually invented Bitcoin back in 2009, 2010, because of all the quantitative easing and the financial stuff that was going on back then. They made Bitcoin as a replacement for the old useless paper money which was backed by nothing. However, today, now, we actually have cryptocurrencies which are backed by the old paper money. Why would you do that, and how on earth are these guys making money with these cryptos which are just backed by paper money? Let's take a look at stable coins and how they've been rising up over the last year. And here you can see them all on the periodic table of cryptocurrencies. You can see we've got the Tether up here in number 7, and then the next one, the biggest mover, was this one, USD coin, and shortly followed by True USD. And then as we go down here, we've got Pax Standard in number 36, followed by, what's up next? Gemini. That's the Gemini US dollar backed coin. Then we've got the DAI, and all the way down here we have Stasis. Where is it gone? Stasis Euros as well, which is exactly the same principle but backed by euros rather than dollars. Okay, so first question, how are the banks and all these financial bodies and shareholders in these stable coins actually making money? All of these coins generally operate in a very similar fashion. Basically, they take money from investors, put it all into a bank account, and then create the same amount of tokens, usually ERC20 tokens, and create them. They sell them onto exchanges, or at least they give them to exchanges, and then they make money on the exchange fees. Plus, also, with all of that cash stored in the bank, let's say like $2 or $5 billion stored in the bank, they're going to earn interest on that, which is going to be quite significant. And also the bank, from the bank's point of view, like one of the coins we're going to see in a minute, they're also going to make an awful lot more from that. So let's check them out. Here we've got Tether, which is the one that we should all know by now, surely. Little bit controversial, because nobody knows whether they do actually have those dollars in their bank account. They're all offshore. I don't like Tether or the people behind it. It's all a bit iffy. I wouldn't feel very safe with that at all. And then we've got this one here. The next big one, USD coin. This is backed by Circle and Coinbase. So Circle, as we know, is actually owned by Goldman Sachs Bank. So I'm not a big fan of that one at all. One of the great things for Goldman Sachs with this is that if they have all of that money from the shareholders stored in their bank, obviously they're going to be earning some interest on that for their shareholders, plus for themselves. As an investment bank, they're going to get to use all of that cash, which is stored in the savings account, invest it on the stock market, and all the stuff that they do with your money, which is held in savings, and make even more cash from that. So great news for Goldman Sachs. Not a coin I would personally want to hold myself. Next up comes Trust Token. So this is True USD. A pretty good one worth checking out. It is still just an ERC20 token, just like the rest of them, but fairly nice, fairly good one. Followed up by Paxos Standard. So Paxos is one, again, I wouldn't really rate much at all. It's the ERC20 token yet again, and basically 1 Pax equals $1 US. There's lots of those about. Why is it so successful? I don't know. Who cares? Followed up then, we have Gemini coin. So Gemini is the dudes which say they invented Facebook, although they kind of did, to be fair. And I gotta say, I really like these guys. I do. I think they're pretty trustworthy as far as trust goes in this type of thing. And I think they also do a lot for the sort of crypto community as a whole, trying to push forward ETFs and all that stuff. So I think they're certainly interested in the space in a bigger way than just trying to make a quick buck. I think they're pretty good guys, and I wouldn't mind supporting them in this if it wasn't for the fact that their coin is just backed by US dollars, and we're going to go into in just a minute why that is so ludicrous and how that is most likely going to bring down the world economy as we know it. So this is really serious stuff, guys. Make sure you stick around if you're watching this, particularly if you're a master ninja. It's very important that you understand what's actually going on. So here we have the DAI. This is owned by the coin maker, which has done phenomenally well last year, by the way. So if you check it out, up here on the periodic table of cryptocurrencies, Maker was the very first coin I came across there on the 1st of January that wasn't on the previous year's chart. So all the way up there in position number 19, Maker done phenomenally well. I wish I heard about it sooner for sure. So yeah, they also own the DAI, which is quite an interesting project. And then we've got Stasis Euros, which is pretty much the same thing again. It's owned by a bunch of investment bankers on some offshore business that they've set up, and is exactly the same as Tether and all the rest of them. Basically, €1 rather than dollars is what they use to back up their currency. So yes, this is all completely ludicrous, right? So basically they've taken the failing paper money, which is going to zero, and backed it up, used that to back up their cryptocurrencies. Why would you do that? Anyway, let's check out something I was looking into about 5 years ago. I was trying to find the actual study that I made, where what I wanted to do is I wanted to take the price of the pound plus the gold and the average house price here in the UK and test it every 10 years for the last 100 years to see what the correlation is between them, to see just which ones are actually worth more, property, gold, or the pound sterling. Okay, so this is the US dollar against gold, and as you can see, until 1970 it was pretty flat, pretty stable, gold and the US dollar, and then from 1970 it just went crazy and the price of gold went through the roof. Okay, so that's interesting. And now let's take a look at the house prices. And you can see a pretty similar pattern here on this chart. You can see up to 1970, it's going pretty smoothly, very gradually upwards. And then from 1970, it just absolutely exploded and the cost of houses went crazy. Why is this? Why 1970? Because in 1970, President Nixon over in the US took the US dollar off of gold. Now, why is that so significant for all of the countries around the world? Because, as it says here, this was Nixon ending the Bretton Woods system back in 1971 to 1973. The Bretton Woods was a system which fixed the exchange rates established at the end of World War II. So basically what happened was at the end of World War II, the British Empire had given all of its gold over to the US, and then finally they decided to join us in the war. Thanks for that, guys. So once they'd taken all of our money, they came over, they stormed Berlin, kicked out Hitler and all the rest of it, and took all that Nazi gold, filled up the bank reserves over there in the US. Europe was absolutely broke. British Empire was gone. And all of the fiat money, all of the paper money could no longer be backed up by gold in each individual's country. So they came up with this Bretton Woods system where all the paper money in the world was backed up by US dollars, which were backed up by all of the gold reserves in Fort Knox and all that good stuff. But the problem with this is the US were pulling the same shady tricks as Tether, i.e. printing off more currency then they had actual resources to back up. And they were giving out lots of loans to third world countries, obviously asking for interest back on those loans. And they didn't actually have enough US gold reserves to actually back up the dollars that were being given out. So what happened in the early 70s is, I believe it was France were the first up to actually ask for the gold back in exchange for the dollars. And it was kind of like calling the bluff on the US. So Nixon took the dollar off of the gold standard temporarily, which actually ended up being forever, as you well know. And we are where we are today. Okay, so all this history stuff, all well and good, yeah, but how is like backing a cryptocurrency with paper money actually going to bring down the world economy? Well, the thing is it's not, but the idea of a stablecoin certainly will. So let's check out what's been going on in current affairs. Last year we saw the really big news of Venezuela creating their own national cryptocurrency, the first nation in the world to actually do this, and they backed it using their oil reserves. And the reason why they've done this is basically their paper money was massively devaluing, and if they wanted to sell their oil at anything other than US dollars through the SWIFT banking system, then they're going to face US sanctions. So if they want to sell it with Russian rubles or whatever, you know, they need to accept US dollars or face sanctions. So what they've done is they created their own cryptocurrency backed by the oil reserves, and hopefully they'll be able to sell using that instead. And they're not the only ones trying to evade US sanctions. Very recently, we saw this one here by the Marshall Islands. They're there to issue physical banknotes for the world's first decentralized national digital currency. Basically, it's right here called the SOV, the Sovereign, and it will join the US dollar as the official legal tender of US associated state. So if you don't know, the Marshall Islands, they're out in the Pacific Ocean. They're somewhere between Hawaii and the Philippines. And the IMF is not too pleased at all. As they say here, the issuance of a decentralized digital currency as a second legal tender would increase macroeconomic and financial integrity risks and elevate the risk of losing the last US dollar correspondent banking relationship, which I should imagine is SWIFT. Now, as we go down, we can see that the dude here, David Paul, the Minister in Assistance to the President of the Marshall Islands, said the island has the right to roll out its own national currency as part of a move to reduce its dependence on the US dollar. So now we have two countries trying to get away from the US dollar. But they're not the only ones. We now have a third. So I would certainly call this now a trend, by the way. So this is something very important. And it's a big country. This is Iran. And Iran launches a gold-backed cryptocurrency as anticipation for crypto rial grows to evade US sanctions. So another one, again, trying to evade US sanctions, trying to come away from the US dollar. This is a massive oil producing nation. If you know anything about the OPEC agreement, the way that all of the oil is supposed to be traded globally using the US dollar, if countries do come away from that, the US dollar is going to tank. There's absolutely no doubt about it. Scrolling down, we can see this here, the state-backed cryptocurrencies as an alternative to SWIFT. So this dude here, however you say that, he announced that an alternative to SWIFT was already being worked on. A little over a week later, Iran inked a blockchain cooperation deal with Armenia and Russia. As we see here, there's a lot of countries beginning a bit of a trend, I would say, trying to come away from SWIFT and come away from the US dollar. Now, I know a lot of you guys which are heavily into XRP taking over from SWIFT. If all of these currencies actually want to get away from the US dollar and get away from SWIFT, are they going to be eager to pick up on XRP or XRapid? Being an American company, maybe not. But it looks as though they seem to be creating their own blockchain solutions for world commerce. With cryptocurrencies, which are backed by hard physical assets owned by the countries, the nations. This is definitely has the potential to bring down the US dollar. Never before in history, or at least the last couple of decades, have we seen anything with the potential to bring down the US dollar. This very likely will. But when? When could this actually happen? Now, I believe that Trump is very likely to do 8 years, and love him or hate him, he is very good at a nice, strong US dollar. But when he leaves office, I would think between the next sort of 3 to 5 years from him leaving, you're probably going to see the US dollar slide quite significantly, go into some sort of hyperinflation and just flat out go. So if you're wondering, in this sort of bear market where we are right now with crypto, are you investing in the right thing? Should you be here? Should you have just not bothered? I'm suggesting you are in the right place for sure. Stick with crypto because it's going to get very interesting over the next few years. If you're looking for a prediction on when I think this is all going to roll out, I would say with these 3 countries starting a trend, next in line I should imagine will be countries like Syria, Iraq, all the sort of Middle Eastern countries, maybe countries in Africa and South America will all start following the trend, jumping on the bandwagon, creating their own digital currencies rather than their fiat-backed, US dollar-backed nonsense, which is all going to zero. They're all going to start coming away soon, and it's just going to accelerate and snowball its way, and the US dollar will be going down. I'd say with the rate of change, maybe 5 to 10 years. So definitely keep sticking with crypto. Now, let's have a look at how you can make even more crypto during the next 5 to 10 years. Satoshi's mines. So this is what we've been working on over the last few months, a way that you guys can invest in cryptocurrency masternodes to earn money every single month, and we have done an amazing job on this, it has to be said. We also spent a lot of time coming up with an algorithm just like the one back in Mutual Ninja, where we were trying to find the undervalued assets. However, this one actually tries to find the most stable masternode coins to invest in. Okay, but the problem is these aren't necessarily the cheapest. So we've made it so that you can basically invest in a portion of a masternode. So say, for instance, you've only got $500 to invest, and you want to be investing in a Dash node or whatever. Obviously you don't have like $90,000 to invest, but you can buy up a portion of a node rather than having to shell out and buy the entire thing. So it's great, and it's coming maybe in the next week or 2. And if you don't have a Master Ninja account, you'll be able to log in here, you'll be able to create a new account. Sorry, if you do already have a Mutual Ninja account, you'll be able to use that same account to log into Satoshi's mines. And if you do not already have one, you can just register and sign up here. Plus, when you do sign up for an account here with Satoshi's mines, it will be the same account over in Mutual Ninja, so you can use the 2 accounts interchangeably, because some of the details from here will be used in your portfolio builder Ninja portfolio doodah over there on Mutual Ninja as well. So the 2 databases are sort of linked. Plus, one thing before we go on that, if you are a Master Ninja and you're thinking, where is the benefits here for Master Ninjas? You'll be very happy to know that we've built in something called an asset acceleration program for Master Ninjas. So whereas the normal standard people can just put their $500 or whatever they've got into a portion of a masternode, with the asset acceleration program, okay, we'll be using the same strategies I use in real estate to buy one property and then refinance and buy another property, refinance, buy another property, and just scale up and scale up and scale up. So we're doing exactly the same thing here for the Master Ninjas with masternodes. So basically you invest a bit in one, and then we just keep scaling you up, scaling you up, scaling you up, and over a 3-year period, the results are incredible. So how much you would have made just with a standard is just peanuts money to what you'd make actually as a Master Ninja on this asset acceleration. You'll make less to begin with. So in the first few months, like 3 to 6 months, you're going to be making less than you would have done on a normal. But over the 3 years, you're going to make substantially more. Same principle as what's in the Bitcoin multiplier method. It's just a case of compound interest. So that's what we've got coming up for you guys. Hope you've enjoyed the video. If you did, please give us a like, comment below, ask any questions that you like, and just yeah, just leave a comment. That would be cool, because it like puts my video up higher in YouTube and stuff. So please comment and like the video. And do not forget, on Monday we now have internet back in the office, so we'll be doing the live stream again on Monday, giving out some what were we giving out? We're giving out some NEM. Yep, there we go. NEM up there in position number 16 now. So we're going to be giving out 25 ZEMs every single Monday yet again. So make sure you comment below and leave in there your NEM Nano wallet address so that I can send you out your ZEMs if you win. So that's it, and I shall see you again next week.
We're always on the edge. We fight and make love at the same time. Would you break up just because I told you?